it's Renee here today, and I thought we could make these little pockets with a window, and inside I've got like a little, it's like a personal folio, almost like a little identification book or, you know, a receipt book or whatever you want it to be. It's just a little bit of faux vintage goodness that you can add as a little journaling place in one of your journals. Anyway, let's make one together. Now I've printed a couple of Larry. I didn't print Larry. Larry was Spawn. But I did print a couple of pages on both sides of some patterned paper. You can use any of your papers you have. If it's not double-sided, you'll need to stick them together. But I've printed some double-sided ones to make this easier. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. I'm just going to go with this one. I'm going to go with this one, and I'm going to start by folding the whole thing in half. Now I'm making the little pocket out of this. I'm going to have this as the outside, and I'm going to have this as the inside. So like I said, I've started by folding it in half, and then I might make a slightly wider pocket this time maybe. I think I will. So last time I made this, it's about 8 centimetres wide. I might go 10 this time. So on my board I'm just using my mat to line it up, and at the 10 centimetre mark I am going to fold it again like this. Okay. Now also just going to flip it front and back to see which one I want to be the front. Now keep in mind I will be cutting a window, but I like this one that's got a bit more pattern on it for the front. So in that case I am chopping off this extra piece right here. I need a knife. There we go. Chop. Like that. And I don't need all of this. I'm going to keep a little over 1 centimetre. Make sure I've got that straight. And chop like that. Might as well take off the white parts now. Alright, so next I want to fold over a flap that is just going to be the bottom piece. I've done that approximately just under 2 centimetres. And the top. Now I'm folding, I should really fold it this way, seeing as though I said I wanted this to be the back. And the fold parts will go onto the back. So that way, and then however bigger flap you want, so I'll go about that there, like that. Okay, so now we need to trim off the pieces we don't need to keep. So using my big brain, I would know that I don't need this little rectangle at the top and the bottom here, so I'm going to start by chopping that off there. And at the top. Like so. Alright, I also know I'm folding it this way, so I need this piece, don't need this piece, so I'm going to chop that off too. Like this. Okay, so back, that's going to fold up that way, that flap's going to fold down that way, so we don't need this part here. So I'll chop that off. Okay. So I've ended up with this shape at the moment. Now I'm going to just slight slithery angles off this little piece because that's going to fold in, and I don't want it to not fold nicely. I've not cut that very straight, so I'm just going to tidy that up with my blade like that. So that's going that way, that's going there like that, that'll fold under like this, that'll fold over like that. Okay, let's shape these. I don't want this to be a square, I kind of want to round it. So I'm going to, I could kind of taper it in a bit, but I think all I'm going to do is round the corners, and I have a tool for that somewhere. Here we go. I'm going to do the corner there and miss that one entirely. Try again like that. I don't think that was all the way in. Try again. Okay, so there we have that. So that will fold up like that. That's good. And then I could have this over if I wanted to, or inside, but I need this bit to be a bit tapered. I don't want this to be straight, so I'm going to cut a slight angly part, and to make it very easy on myself cutting the same part on the other side, since this is a tiny little slither, I can try and hold it there and cut it exactly, but I'm not that good at that, so I'm going to get a piece of glue paper and a glue stick, glue, and stick it on the side that I want to cut off. So now it's exactly where I need to trim off, so cut that same piece off this side. Just for a kind of a make sure you get it right trick. Alright, so I also want, I need to make sure that that's straight. It looks a little bit angled. No, it's just an illusion. Alright, I need to round these corners. I don't want them straight, and my corner tool won't do this angle, so I'm going to do it manually. So just round like that, and like that. So that'll be the fold. Now, I don't want this to go all the way to the top either, so I'm going to open the whole thing and use my mat to help me make some guide marks for cutting. So let's get a pen, here's a pen. Right, I want to come in, I'll just fold that over so it looks more obvious for now. I want to come in about 1 centimetre, like that, from both sides. And I'm going to want to cut that on a bit of an angle, so I'm going to use my ruler to come down 1 centimetre, and I don't want to be straight under this mark. I want to be another centimetre in, so from here to here. And you can draw these if it helps you cut, or if you can just eyeball it, feel free. I'm going to cut out this shape. And I'll do this long straight line with my cutting blade. Like that. And then I'll just do the short angled ones with the scissors. And the other side. Now I could just leave it like that, but I also want to put a little half round circle in as well, like I did on the other one, so kind of finding where the middle is. I'll just mark it with a pen, that's the middle there. I'm going to make just a small, a bit of a circle punch hole, so I've got that sort of thumb grip area. Okay. So, before I'm going to assemble this or cut a hole in the front, I'm going to decide what I'm putting in it and what I want to show through the front. So on this one, I thought something that looks a bit like identification. I wanted to show that through on that one. I might do something similar on this, but I'm thinking maybe I'll do two windows, one that's going to show the picture of the person and then one that's going to show like maybe a signature a bit further down. So before we go any further on this, I'm going to start work on the inside little folio thing. So I printed this out, a bit of plain, and I'm going to fold it in half like this. Now before I bother gluing it, I'm going to make sure it's going to fit. Yes, it is. And I'm going to glue it together. Alright, I'll give that a bit of a chance to dry while I decide which person I want to cut out. So I think I'll just go with this guy down in the corner here. I'll just trim him out. Alright, I like the look on photos that have that little white edge, but I'm not going to want it bright white, but we'll deal with that after. So I'm just going to glue this guy down onto some plain white paper with just a little border around him like this. And trimming him out. Alright, I'm going to just even him up a little. Alright, that looks good enough to me. I'm going to grab my paper and this vintage photo ink, my domed blending tool, and I'm just going to gently go around the white edge. Not too heavy. I want it to still look like it was white. And then I'm going to go round with this ground espresso and do the edge. Like that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Let's see if that paper's dry enough. It'll do. So I'm going to start by trimming off the white edges. Alright, next I am going to size this. So I want it to have the same sort of gap around it. I'm just going to use this tool to mark a little divot there so I can fold it over, fold it where I've made a little groove like that. Make sure that's still good. It will do. And then I'm going to fold this little piece over like this. Okay. Make sure that's all lined up nice. Oops. I feel like I need to trim just the smallest sliver down here. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to round all the corners. Like that. And I'm going to ink along this edge here. And glue that down so that it makes a little side pocket. Okay, so this will be the front and this will be the inside. That's going to, let's just fold this over. How it's going to be, that's going to slide down in there. So let's put the photo on where we want that to be. I'm going to put it in the middle at the front like this. Now there, like that. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece of scrap card. I'm sure I've got some lying around over here. Reaching, this will do. And I'm going to make a little template. So, actually that would have been handy to do before I glued the picture down. But you guys know now to do this part before you glue the picture down. I'm going to mark with my pen the width. Then I will mark with my pen the height. Now that's nowhere near straight, so let's fix that. Good enough. Let's round these corners. Come on. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that over the top. It might be wiser to make this a bit bigger, than if this doesn't slot in exactly the right place, it's not like cutting off part of the picture. So let's use this template to make a bigger template. So let's give it about yay much space all around. Okay, let's square this up. Alright, this isn't exactly even, so even it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and take off to here. This should make it square. Okay, punch my corners. Now, if you're only planning on using this template once, don't throw it away. It would make a nice little back bit for another embellishment. Okay, so now we want to put that sort of there, holding that in place. Put that down so it's going to be resting on the bottom. Put that like that and pull that away, leaving that there. Alright, let's hope for the best. There's a bit of a suck it and see. I'm going to carefully trace around the template. Okay, and now I'm going to cut this out. I'll do the straight parts first. Now I can't really see it when I put it on that side of the line, so let's put it on this side. Straight part number 1. Straight number 2. Straight number 3. Straight number 4. And just going to carefully make these rounded corners with my blade. Okay, that's not completely cut. There we go. Let's pop that like it's going to be. Let's put this in like it would fit. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so do we want to risk and do another window for like signatures and stuff? I think I really want to. So, even though I've told you to keep your templates, I thought about cutting this one in half so I could have the same width, but I still think I'll keep this because I'll probably use it again. So I'm going to trace around it and make another template, but only half the height. So trace. Oops, that's problematic. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now let's just make sure it's evenish. Yep. Oh, come on, Mr. Corner Punch. Thank you. Alright. I feel a new corner punch in my future. Alright, so let's make the hole, then we'll put it on the decoration when it's in the pocket to lessen our problems. Because if we'd put this together and then cut the hole and then put this in and then glued the picture on, it probably would have worked a lot better than the way I've done it. So, you know, tip for next time. But seeing as though, you know, we're just creating as we go, these sort of things happen. Alright, I'm happy with that placement, I believe. Paranoid I'm going to get it wonky. Drawing around the template. If you've got a slip and your pen's got to go off, hopefully it's onto the template. I'll kind of put pressure so that if I slip, it's going to come this way and not a big draw line across my pocket. Can't see the line on that side again. There we go. And two. Three. 4. Careful with your corners. Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to put this back in. where I want it to be when we're assembled, like that. And let's find a signature or a label that I want to put on there. Alright, let's look at that. That'd be better if it was a little bit thinner. Let's trim the same amount off each edge. I like it, I like it. Let's ink the edges. This is the brown, the darker brown. I want to make sure I've got it on straight. I suppose if I just put glue stick on and am quick, I can always whip it off again if it's in the wrong spot. Let's make it extra gluey so it's got a little extra time to dry. I'll just place it on gently like that. Hang on, make sure we are centralised. In fact, we'll just line it up with the picture. Let's move it over just a tad. Make sure we're still good there. Yep. Pressing, we're good. Okay. Now we've got the things in place we needed the windows open for. I'm now going to close them. Before I do that, I'm going to ink them. So, ink around the edges. Now, I should probably mention that this paper I've printed on, I wanted the pocket to be a little thicker than regular paper, so I printed on, I think it's 120 GSM. So it's kind of not quite card, but it's stiffer than just paper. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like a thick paper. Let's just go with that. Okay. I'm going to use a piece of contact that I've run through the laminator, laminator pouch that I ran through the laminator with nothing in it, so it's just a clear piece of plastic, but you could also use packaging, anything that you have lying around that would work in this situation. It doesn't have to be this. And I'm going to, using my pen, mark a little line where I need to cut. Let's mark 2 lines so we can get a somewhat straight line. Ruler right here. So now I have a piece of plastic which should fit over both of my windows. I am going to put some glue around the edge of both of the windows, all the way around. Like this. Just making sure I've got enough to make all of that plastic stick down. And I'm going to push down with a tissue. Hello, Pokey. And I'm going to turn it over and push, wipe around the edges of the little windows to get the excess glue off. Hello, Bobby. Alright, so now we have a couple of clear windows. Let's finish assembling the pocket. I want to put some ink on the edge of this. Yes, I know. You've never had food, you're starving. Just give me a second. Okay, let's make sure that we can't see this flap through the windows. No, we can't. I also want to make sure that I can't see it. You're in the way, Puggy. Can't see it poking out in the pocket. If you can, just trim it down. I want to ink this part here too. Like that. Might as well do these edges while we're here. That one's not necessary, it's going to be covered. Yes, Puggy. Yes, Puggy, I understand. Yes, Puggy. Food in a minute. What is that, Puggy? A minute's an unacceptable amount of time to have to wait? My husband's always saying that the cats are just furry little sticks, and if they turn sideways they look invisible because they're starving. And these cats eat a ridiculous amount of cat food, although Larry's the worst culprit. He's always stealing Pug's food. We spoil them quite a bit, and they get lots of things off our dinner plates that they just look at us with those sort of please feed me eyes, and then bits of meat and stuff fly off the plate at them. Alright, I'll just go feed Puggy Wuggy and we'll come back and glue this together. Okie dokie. Continuing on. So, let's put glue. I'm just going to use a glue stick. Glue down this bit. Where did I put the glue stick? There you are. Glue here. Fold and fold. Like so. And bottom flap here. Like that. If you wanted to make a little closure on your pocket, you would probably factor that in before you glue it together, but I'm just leaving it as a little fold over pocket at this point. We can experiment on future ones. Let's slide him in and see if he actually lines up. Fingers crossed. That's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Alright, let's do a little more decorating. So, you got to consider that if you put stuff too close around this, it's going to be seen in the window. So if you're going to do that, you're going to kind of have to make sure you balance it a little so it doesn't look lopsided, or avoid those areas and decorate down the edges. Let's plan a little bit. I think, let's see what I've got on one of these sheets. Alright, I've got some numbers, got some panel-y things. This tiny little number up here is kind of cute. I want that. We could kind of put that on his I think there would be kind. Puggy, Puggy, you're back. Did I not give you the good food? You just want some attention now. Still food. That's the food maneuver. I just gave you a bowl of cat food. Right, I like that. I'm wondering, Puggy Wuggy, whether... Puggy Wuggy. No. Go eat the food I just gave you. Let's ink the edges so we're getting a little bit more of the finished look, and then we can decide if we want to put other things on there. Maybe just some stamping. Maybe we don't clutter it up too much. I feel like I really want some more on it, like a frame or something. What have I got? Let's fossick through this box of bits. I've got stuff I've cut previously. Box of bits. Maybe some bordery bits. Good. Well, I kind of like that going down the spine, sort of like... Let's fold you in half a second. Kind of like that a lot. Alright, we're doing that. That's being done. Let's just... Puggy? Let's just Puggy. Glue paper. No. I know I'm going to lose this battle with him. He's going to win and get more food. It's just how long I can put up with the pestering before he wins. Because he always wins. Alright. Press. Like that. Corner punch thing. There you are. Yes, like that. Alright. What else have we got? What about this little thin piece of writing? Now, I believe this is French and I've got no idea what it says, and I'm just going to chop it off here and pretend it says something relevant, even though it probably says fold socks this way or something weird. It has nothing to do with what I'm using it on. That one could work. Let's do it. I like it. Just like a slither down the edge maybe. You can see I didn't put that on very straight. But oh well, never mind. Could actually do it again if we wanted to. Let's try it again just to be safe. Bit like that. Better. Right, I'm quite happy with how that's turned out thus far. Let's pop it back in here a sec. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so let's work on the inside now. I will begin by inking my edges. Okay, let's do the middle as well. There we go. Like that. Now, last time I made a little clip-in card out of some lined paper, but this time I think I might actually stick it in. Let's go this colour. Let's cut the edges off. Let's decide now how wide we want to be. In here. Right, how tall? Let's cut it off at this line here. Right, I want to do the corners, but my corner won't do thin paper, so I'm going to fold it but not crease it to encourage it to cut these corners. Do better. That'll work. Okay, I like it. Let's ink the edges. Packy it back. Glue paper. He's still asking for that food, huh? Oh, is that a little whimper? He's starving, Booby. Yes, I know. Hungry, hungry hippo. Alright. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's pause again to refeed Puggy. So, let's think. I'd like to make like a little lining piece for the top of this little pocket that leave a gap around the edge sort of thing out of the same stuff we used on the envelope. So let's just trim this down a bit. Okay, that's still good. Although we're on an angle, fix that. Better. Okay, let's put the corners together. Ah! Ah! The whole thing's come apart. Yay. Okay. Perfect. Inking. Like that. Okay, now, before I continue, I want to make it look like someone's grabbed their coffee cup, cold, and sat it down and it's made a ring, but I don't want to do it for real. So, I came up with this little idea earlier. I'm going to make my own out of blue tack. So, I'm going to roll a piece to make a nice long snake. Sorry if this is wobbling the camera. We kind of don't want it to be exactly even everywhere, so do some thinner parts, some thicker parts, and all that. Then get something round and put it on top of your lid. That's what I'm using. But if you've got a what are those things called? Acrylic block that you can put the stamps on, you could do it on that. And I'm just kind of using the edge of the inside of my tape, puggy wuggy, to make it round-ish. Right, I just want to press it on a bit, and then I'm going to push it down onto my desk. Now, I don't want this line on here, so I'm just going to pinch it and manipulate it a bit until I can make it go away. Push, push, push. Alright. And push. Alright, we're not going to do this straight on the project. We're going to test it and make sure it's going to look alright. So I'm just going to get a piece of white paper. And I'm going to use this walnut stain distressed oxide. I just tap it on top of my blue tack ring. I'm going to get a little water spray, a little bit on there. terrible. Let's remove some bits so we get a little bit more of a broken coffee ring sort of look. This. This. Right, I'm just pressing that down to flatten it. I kind of want to add a little more bulk on this side so it's more of a spill as well. This. Yes. Press it on my mat. Okay, let's try that again. Oxide. Here. A little bit of spray. Test paper. Almost. Alright, what I'm going to do is just make these sort of connect but thinly. You experiment until you get exactly the look you're going for. If you completely lose your shape, just bring your tape back in and then push it into the sides of the tape. Let's just dry it a little bit and then I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so that is obviously on the outside now, but that's alright. But on this side, buggy wuggy, I'm just pushing it up against the edge of the inside of the tape. To get that roundness back. Oops, broke that bit. Alright, let's press on it again so it flattens out. Fix that bit. I need to just add a touch more. A bit too thin. Alright, flatten and water and test. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's the look I'm going for, so I'll put I think I'll just put one on. Two looks quite messy. So I'm going to reapply some of this. Reapply some of this. Now keep in mind, because you're going to put a little water on your page, ink is possibly going to run a little. Okay, let's put this under, and I'm going to have it hanging off like this. So give that a second. Okay, so next I might do a stamp, perhaps. I've got no idea what this means, but let's go with this. No Puggy Wuggy. Got that one at a slight angle. No, Puggy. Okay. Let's maybe put a signature at the bottom here. Puggy Wuggy. Puggy Wuggy. Like this. Okay. Let's maybe add some. I'm going to take a minute and clear my desk and try and persuade Puggy that he does not need any more food. I guarantee you this is going to fail, this not feeding Puggy quest. But I'll be back in a minute with a bit of a cleaner desk and we'll get back on with this. Alright, we've got a bit more space now. Let's do one more thing to tuck in. Find what I've done with the documents. Okay, let's put one of these in there. Let's go this middle one. Alright, I don't want the back to be white, so I'm just going to use my vintage photo to just brown up the back a bit. I'm also going to use this distressing tool. Use the edge of your scissors if you want, just to tear and roughen the edges a little bit. Like this. Some ways using the scissors can be a bit easier sometimes. Oops, got an authentic tear there. Alright, now we've got that done, let's brown the edges a bit. And then with this slightly lighter brown, I'm going to go right around the top edges. Like this. Okay. Now, in order to make this fit, I'm going to be folding it in half, like this. But I also want to like staple, maybe a stamp, and perhaps like maybe one of these sort of little date panel things. So let's get those out. What I might do is tear it out. I'm going to use this cling wrap edge to tear out a stamp or two. So what I might do is put the stamp and the little date thing. Maybe it needs another little... I have a residual bit of the... here's some lined paper I prepared earlier that I'd glued to itself, so I might just use a little bit of this. Oh, I'm gonna need a new corner tool thing because this one wants to fall apart now every time I use it. Now it doesn't want to work at all. Disaster! Okay, give it back. Manually. It'll do. On here, I want to use some labels. To use one of these. I'm going to just cut this out. And I'm going to put it here and kind of fold it around the back. Good. Like this. And then I want a stamp, maybe this one with some wordy things on it, like that, and like that. Alright, back to this thing. So I'm going to hang this card off a little bit like this, and this sort of thing like this, and staple the whole thing together. It's like a swatch of details, and that can tuck in this little side part, like that. Alright, the front still feels a little naked in some areas. I almost want to do another one of these stains sort of on the front, but then I'm afraid that I'll completely ruin it. Torn. Maybe what I need to do is just some very light stamping. What I might do, I'm going to mask my photo and my signature. Like this. So I can do some little script stamps around it. Right. Let's look at that. Better, like it better. Alright, so we've got that little thing done. Probably just do a little bit of that same sort of script mess on the back. It's a bit messy, but we'll go with that look. Let's slide it in its little pocket. Ta-da! Now if I was going to do a closure, I might have done one of those little circle string windy things, but it would require me putting a piece on before I sealed it. But I'm not unhappy with that, just the way it is. I could decorate it a bit more if I wanted to, but I think we've done enough with it today. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!